What is up, beautiful people? It's Wolf Brother Mythos Kushranada from the channel Frost and Fists, and welcome to Wolf Brother Wednesday. So first things first, going into a hobby update. And my favorite hobby updates from the weekend is that Friday night I was over at my local game store, Swords and Superheroes in Kingwood, Texas, and I had a great game experience, which is a really good thing because this may be one of my last games, if not the last game, of 7th edition. But it was really, really a lot of fun. My man Atlas, you may have seen him from a few battle reports. He called me up the day before and said, "Hey man, tomorrow's game night. You got a dance partner yet?" And I said, "Hey, I'm your Huckleberry." And so we set up a game. I was running a little late for work, but he called me. He said, "Hey, he's setting things up." Called me back a little after that and said, "Hey, do you mind if we do a three-way? Somebody else wants a game." I said, "Sure, put me down. We'll do a three-way." He said, "Cool," because Cloud came up here looking for a game and he didn't have anyone to play against. I said, "Wait a minute, hold up." Now Cloud's my brother, okay, but I was very apprehensive about this because I said, "Hold up, you Atlas play Guardsman and Tau, and Cloud also plays the Tau, but full Tau, so that would be a three-way, but I would be playing against Tau and Tau. Whoa, hold up. I want you guys to go ahead and get started on this match because I'm not down to play against double Tau." But they assured me, that they weren't bringing nasty lists. It would still be a good game, and then of course Atlas said, "Yeah, I was just really hoping to get a game in because I haven't seen you in a while, and I could really use a game." I was okay, because Atlas, because it's Cloud. I went ahead and decided to bite the bullet and play a game against double Tau. But then I got there, and as I'm setting up my models, Lars, our expert orc player at the shop, walks in, and he's looking for a game. And they said, "Hey, let's just make it a 2v2." And we pulled them all in, and the way it ended up being rolled is that I was with Cloud, so Space Wolves were with Tau. It's a little bit. I know. Those of you who watch my channel for a while, that's a little bit of heretical bullshit. But I actually really enjoyed playing with my brother Cloud. Cloud and I made a pretty good team. And then, of course, Atlas with his Imperial Guard Tau, and Lars with his Orcs. They were the other team. And Lars is by far the best Orc player that I know. So he brought a lot of melee up-close awesomeness. And the Imperial Guard / Tau were laying down some firepower from the back. It was a really fun game. There's a couple recaps and pieces on our Frost and Fist Facebook page. You can go check that out. And overall, I really, really enjoyed that game. It was super close. I mean, I had cavalry that got in there and fought Gazgul and a bunch of mega knobs. And it was an even combat, 8 wounds on both sides. That was really cool. And then there was the Tau and Guard eliminated my other cavalry down to just my Warlord first turn, but the Warlord in there and got up close and wrecked a Pask and a Leman Russ with him. I mean, there were some pretty epic moves. I had my Wolfen get out. They also helped destroy some tanks. And then if we had gotten to play a little longer, I'm pretty sure my Wolfen would have gotten in there and gotten to mess up some crisis suits, which I would have loved to see. But all in all, I mean, you can imagine four people who aren't used to playing together as a team, all at 2,000 points apiece. It was definitely a big, messy game, and just one round it took hours. I think in the whole night we only got through like a turn and a half. My team didn't even get to go on to turn 2. But it was still just outright carnage and fun everywhere. So I'm really glad we had an epic game. If that turns out to be my last 7th edition game, great note to end on. Because it was so much fun. Which is good. It bodes well that I had a good start to the weekend. Because my hobby news for the rest of the weekend, not so fantastic. There was Saturday's news, which I will go on to a short rant about here in just a moment. But I'm going to skip over that and talk about Sunday. So Sunday had a good D&D session. with my family. You know, had family over. We played D&D every Sunday, and it was a good session. And then I've been painting on my paint station, Inquisitor Greyfax, all week. And I put in a lot of time. Really pleased with the way she was coming out, because she's so tiny and a lot of fine details that, again, kind of intimidated me. But I ended up being really thrilled with how they were looking. And I had after all the time I put in, she was literally less than an hour away from being done. And it's a commission piece. This piece is supposed to be paying for my half of my Dark Imperium box set. And anyways, so come to the D&D night. Family's all getting ready to go. Said goodbye with a couple high fives and hugs, to brothers and sisters. And then the last brother starts to come around the bar to give, my wife a hug and, for us to say goodbye. And as he starts to come around the bar, there is a crunch sound. And everybody immediately freezes, like, what was that crunch? There should be no crunch. Why is there crunching? And when we investigated the matter further, the crunch was this right here, which you'll see a picture of.
Hello, darkness, my old friend.
I know! Heartbreaking, right? I have no idea how the Inquisitor made it all the way from my workstation, my paint station, which is on the kitchen counter, onto the living room floor by the bar. That's, crazy. That is like clear around the counter or over the counter and into the living room space. I don't know how she got on the floor. But something happened. And I'm not blaming my brother whatsoever, because the Inquisitor should have been on the floor. I wish I knew how she got on the floor. And everybody was super cool about it. The brother that accidentally stepped on her was super, sorry about it and immediately offered to pay for it. And my other brother, Darklight Dreamer, immediately was focused on, because I was stressing out a mite bit. So Darklight Dreamer immediately trying to diffuse the crisis situation, immediately hopped on eBay, found me a replacement, and had it ordered like within minutes. In fact, happened to pick a close by seller, I think in Oklahoma, and I already have the new model in my hands now. It is, I think the worst part of that is, the time you put into it. And guys, just take a look at these pictures. This is how my progression through the week of how Inquisitor was coming along. I was really proud of all the fine details, but especially the details on the cape here. But you know what? It's just going to be more practice at that fine detail for the next time. So in the end, doing all these fine details over and over again is really just going to increase my skill level and make me a better commission painter. So I was upset about it, but I'm not going to let it bother me. I'm very thankful to Darklight Dreamer, very thankful to my other brother for offering to pay, and we're just going to take this crisis situation and make it happen. On the bright side, I always paint the head and attach it last, just so I can get in there and paint the details of the face. So when it got crunched, the head wasn't on yet, so I already have a pre-painted base that'll save me some time when I work on the next version of Inquisitor Greyfax this week. Now, the last thing I'm going to talk about in my hobby update is, of course, the Saturday release of, their pre-orders for Imperial Armor. And those of you who are friends with me on Facebook, I apologize for my attitude. I was just very disappointed. Of course, I'm not just one to fly off the handle without knowing. I do have confirmation from Forge World after looking. So what happened is I looked at their index and their table of contents, and it said all these Imperial Armor special characters that you can find in this. It was like this section for Imperial Armor, Imperium Armor, the heavy vehicles, the Titans, and it said on this next picture was all just Imperial Armor characters. And I noticed the one name I was going to buy the book for was not on the list. A little research further, and sure enough, Brand Redmaw will not be in the Imperial Armor for the Imperium. And that quite upsetting me. In fact, Bran Redmaw is my favorite Space Wolf character in all of the lore. So I was pretty upset about that. And then, of course, first of all, if you take a look at this picture I'm about to show you, okay, when they first announced that they were going to be selling Imperial armor for the Imperium books, indexes for the Imperium, okay, when they first announced it, the specific question was asked, will Bran Redmaw be in it? Forge World themselves came back and said, yes, we don't know exactly how or what, but he will have characteristics. Okay, cool. So you guys have known since that got announced, I've been pumped up. People tell me all the time, man, I can't wait to get this book for Bran Redmaw. I can't wait to get this next book for Bran Redmaw. Okay, so from their lips to now being told no, you can understand why I'm very frustrated and full of disappointment. Okay, so I'm pumped up because they themselves said Bran Redmaw would be included. That frustration number one. Frustration number two is after I got confirmation from them, of course, I was like, what the hell? And with that, I'm like, okay, hey, so what are we doing here? Is it everybody who invested money in Doom of Mimera? Is it just, hey, sucks to be you, and we're just not gonna worry about Doom of Mimera anymore? What's going on here? They responded to me again, and they said, hey, Mythos, unfortunately, the Imperial Armor Imperium Index is packed to the brim, full of different characters and vehicle profiles, and we just couldn't fit him. Really? That is the lamest, most patronizing excuse ever. Really? Really? You couldn't fit him? You couldn't print one more page for one more profile? Is there a page limit number police that are policing this, that are saying you can't print one more page? I mean, that is the lamest excuse ever, saying we cannot fit. I mean, who determines how many pages go in the book, Forge World? Is it you? Because if it's you, and you're saying that you're the one who decided the number of pages you could put in, and you just can't fit anymore, that's saying you decided that you couldn't have it. But you couldn't have it because it wasn't allowed? Now, that is some patronizing. I've been in customer service. I understand patronizing bullcrap when I hear it. And that sounds like some patronizing bullcrap. Moreover, y'all already said, of course, when you released the announcement saying that these indexes were going to be available for pre-order, you said specifically, yes, Bran Redmaw will be available. So, frustrated from that. Reason number one and reason number two. You told me it was going to be there, and then boom, you gave me some patronizing would not fit mumbo jumbo. And then three, you said, so because we can only fit so many, we can only fit profiles for characters which we are currently selling models. That frustrates me for a whole another reason. Because the year that you guys released the Imperial armor of Doom of Mimera, okay, y'all showcased at Warhammer Fest, Warhammer World, whatever, bing, this picture here of a preview for Bran Redmaw. You went ahead and released the book with Bran Redmaw stats. You chose not to release this Bran Redmaw figure for whatever reason, okay? Apparently the official statement is you didn't think that this model was up to your Forge World par, it wasn't up to your level of quality. That's fine. You chose to release the stat. You got us all hooked on the crack. Now you didn't put out the figure. That's fine. We'll convert our own. But now you're saying because you chose not to put out that figure, we can't have the stat going into the new edition? Bullcrap. So you need to get it right, because I'm quite upset, and I'm sure there's some other Space Wolf fans out there who are also pretty upset. Anyways, I know everybody's excited about 8th edition, and you guys probably don't want to hear, people talking trash about GW and Forge World right now. So I'm gonna bring it back. I'm gonna try. I vented enough for now, and I'm gonna try and stop being angry. But I had some hobby frustration this weekend, and Bran Redmaw was a large part of my hobby frustration. I apologize to those of you who are watching who don't like or are uncomfortable hearing anybody speak negativity about GW or Forge World. So, again, you have my apologies. I'm gonna rein it in for now. I am angry, yes, but I'm only angry because I'm disappointed. And I'm only disappointed because they built me up to love this character, and now it's been taken away from me. So
Because they lied. You're that fourth world, you're freaking liars.
my wife's got it on point. Y'all are liars. Anyways, I'm gonna get off that soapbox for now. Y'all know how I feel about it. I've probably spewed it out more than people want to hear, and for that I apologize. So I'm going to move on to the next subject. And the next subject is, of course, the questions of the week. So, Kuja from Kuja and Kiwi on his Hyra Hobby Sunday asks, what do you like on a sandwich? And for me, I like a lot of stuff on a sandwich. In fact, gourmet sandwiches is one of the things that Darklight Dreamer and I used to really perfect during card nights. So before we had 40K night, me, Darklight, one of our bros, Roxas, Lily here. We had Jules. You know, a lot of our friends and family were all hooked on the Yu-Gi-Oh train. And so before Friday night was Warhammer night, it used to be Yu-Gi-Oh night. It used to be card night. And we would play Yu-Gi-Oh, Magic the Gathering. We'd just have a whole bunch of us around the apartment playing games. And since it was usually held at my place, we usually did some, put out some noms for the fam while we're all hanging out. And gourmet sandwiches used to be our thing. We used to turn all kinds of stuff into sandwiches. Like, we did so many variations of custom Philly cheesesteak sandwiches. Different steak sandwiches were delicious. We did Texas brisket sandwiches, which those were so good because it was sliced. I mean, thick. You know, a lot of times you get a brisket sandwich and it's all the shredded or chopped brisket, but these were like full slices of sliced brisket sandwiches. Those were great. We've done baked turkey, baked chicken. We've just taken. We've done a whole literal pulled pork roast and did a made from scratch pulled pork sub. That was awesome. So I like all kinds of stuff. If you can get me the meatier the sandwich, the better in my case. I love beef sandwiches. But my favorite sandwich I've ever had is a steak sandwich. It was a steak po' boy that I had from Lafayette, Louisiana, and it was just absolutely amazing. It was just a whole sub, okay, this big, okay, 3 times the size of my face looking at the camera right now. It was a whole sub of just seared, and I would order medium rare ribeye, okay, perfectly caramelized on the outside, perfectly pink and juicy on the inside, with a horseradish aioli, horseradish garlic aioli. It was fantastic. That's the best sandwich I've ever had. So your general question, what do I like on sandwich? The meatier the better. I like Italians. I like steak and beef sandwiches, pulled pork sandwiches. You know, the meatier the better. But my favorite I've ever had is those steak sandwiches that I had in Lafayette. Kiwi from the same channel, Kuja and Kiwi, says, if you play League of Legends, who are your League of Legend mains? And if you don't play League of Legends, what type of character do you typically prefer? And so for me, I do play League of Legends. I have like 60 something characters because Darklight and I have been playing as Lily as well. We've been playing for years together. And at one point, Lily and I would just every week, each of us would take $5 or so and say, okay, I'm getting a character this week. So we've just kind of collected up a whole crap ton over the last few years. But if I had to say I had mains, I would say that my favorites are, as an Asian man, I got to throw Xin Zhao in there because he's awesome. And sometimes I like to, this isn't racist because I'm Asian, okay? But sometimes I like to play as Xin Zhao and then put on the Mulan song, Be a Man, while I'm sitting there racking up kills. It's pretty fun. Also Darius and Garen. I like taking their massive blades and just spinning to win. Spin to win, spin to win, spin to win. I like Talon, the assassin slash ninja. He's awesome. And then along those same lines, I also like the new character Zaya, just like you. Sometimes so Darklight also likes Zaya, and so when we're playing, myself, Darklight, and Kiwi, we all have to basically come to an agreement ahead of time over how we're going to rotate out who gets to be Zaya when we're playing, just because all of us like. See, she's a bird type ninja character, but her specialty is throwing knives. Your Wolf Brother loves throwing knives, and so this was just a very natural, I had a very natural affinity for this character. She's awesome. But yeah, so those are my mains so far. Like I said, I love a ton of them. I'm a big Sejuani fan, even though I felt like for a couple of editions now she's a little underpowered. I like Ash. There's a whole bunch of characters that I like, but I would say those are my mains. So basically, I took my question of my main and just cheated and gave you a lot of answers. As far as your other one, even though I do play League, I'll answer the other one. What type of characters do I normally like to play? And usually I like to play damage dealer characters. Another online game I play is Overwatch. The damage characters are always my favorites. I love playing Reaper, Hanzo, Genji. I like just being able to get up in people's faces and just lay down a crap ton of damage. I'm practicing it with a variety of them so I can be effective with my team and switch out as I need to. But those are definitely my favorites. Also, in that same, it's not really an online game. Well, I guess you can do online with it. In Mass Effect, I love playing Vanguards, so I can just biotic charge up to people's faces, punch them in the face, and just destroy them with my psychic powers, but up close. The biotic charge to punch them in the face, the Nova to slam down energy around us all. Those kinds of things are just really badass to me. Even, what are those things? The giant worm things that fly around the sky? They're called Architects. If you guys have played or seen anything about Mass Effect 3, I've even used my biotic charge to, the entire fight, punch the Architect to death. Andromeda. Sorry, Mass Effect Andromeda. Really enjoyed that. And, this creature is so giant compared to your tiny little sprite that punching that giant beast to death seems like a retarded strategy to anyone who is not a Vanguard at heart. But I am a Vanguard at heart, and it just felt pretty awesome. So, thank you for your questions, Kuja and Kiwi. Pete from Mini Warzone Pete says, cell phones, do they create a zombie apocalypse? The way everybody's always zoned out on their cell phones. He says that in some cases, for some people, even in their own houses, that they tend to sometimes leave people to where it's hard to get each other's attention. They're just going around in that zombie kind of state, just all distracted on their phone. Okay, now, on one hand, I am that guy. Like, I find myself distracted a lot. I have pretty strong ADD, though, so, I just, in general, get distracted pretty easily. But I think most people, especially people who are less prone to change, are immediately going to jump on and say, yes, cell phones are the devil. Cell phones make people mindless and inattentive. And yet, okay, they have a point to a certain extent. But I think it's just kind of an evolution of human nature, if you look at it. Because before cell phones were the problem, we had all kinds of other stuff. We have an entire generation of us that zoned out in front of, our Nintendos growing up. We had a whole generation of us who sat down and zoned out and vegged in front of televisions to Saturday morning cartoons or after school TV. Okay? And then, even if you go back as far as black and white shows, you'll see all manner of husbands depicted as sitting in front of the TV, watching it, and then a wife who has trouble calling their attention. Mythos, huh? Because, again, they're vegged out, they're zoning in front of that TV. So, I think it's always been there in us as part of our human nature. something soaks up our attention, it's easy to go there. And then because I have a background in behavioral science, I can tell you that the brain can only process one major action at a time. And so no matter how good we think we are at multitasking, our brain is always going to keep one thing above 51% of our brain usage. So, or at least of our 51% of our attention level. So, if you're really into that TV show, it's going to take up at least, if it's got your interest, or if it's got your, an attachment to you emotionally, creatively, or just, again, something that just interests you, it's going to have at least or more than 51% of your attention. So it's only natural for you to zone out to whatever it is that you're into. Now, that's going to detract your attention away from other things that are going on, sure. And so you will find that distracted kind of nature. But again, it's really, to me, no less different than any of us, again, zoning out in front of the Nintendo as kids, zoning out in front of our TVs. It's just the only thing it really you can accuse the phone of being guilty of is providing more accessibility than the other things. Most of us don't just carry the TV with us when we go to the dinner table or we go sit. We can use the phone in multiple places. And because it's more accessible all the time, that's why it's kind of, a lot of people consider a phone epidemic, Now, is it a problem? I think it's the same problem. It's the problem in us as people, and we can curb our behavior. We can coach ourselves and train ourselves to be more attentive in certain situations. But I think all the phone itself does is provide the accessibility. But I think it's a great question, Pete. A little bit of a higher process level thinking. And I appreciate the question, good sir. My next question comes from Black Country Wargamer. And he says, now that I'm joining the Wolf Pack, and just to expand on that for a minute, Black Country Wargamer has 40k armies, decided that he was no longer interested in 40k, but now with the 8th edition coming out, he's finding himself more interested. I think he even said he did some play testing at his local game store, which again further provoked his interest, and he wants some of the new Primaris stuff, which is provoking his interest again. So I believe he's going with a Primaris Space Wolf army, so that'll be very cool to see. Of course, he's going to have some of the classics in there, like the Thunderwolf Cavalry. Gotta have Thunderwolf Cavalry. And he says, now that I'm joining the Wolf Pack, how would you arm your Thunderwolf Cavalry? Now, we're kind of out of limbo here. Normally, I could rattle off answers for you in 7th edition, no problem. I would tell you you'd want some things that are going to strike at initiative and recommend some claws or swords. And then I would also tell you that, so that would be initiative and low AP. And I would also tell you that you're going to want some things that are going to be low AP, AP2, and, higher strength. So maybe some axes, some hammers, some power fists. Those are all great options. However, because weapons are going to work differently in 8th edition, that's not exactly going to be the case. So either way, 7th or 8th edition, I will recommend to you Storm Shields, Storm Shields, Storm Shields. Because the Thunderwolf Cavalry are beautiful. They are my favorite, they're probably my favorite thing in my army, as far as, they may be, they are just one of my favorite components of the army, honestly. Again, that's one of the reasons why I chose to be a Space Wolf, is because the ability to just charge across the battlefield on this badass hulking wolf and just punch something in the face, that is everything I want out of my Space Marine army. So I love the unit. However, they do great damage. They do great at getting in close. However, survivability is always their problem, because most people are going to focus fire them. They are a big threat, and people are going to treat them like a big threat. And if you're not careful with them, they will get shot off the table before they make it anywhere at all. And people are going to prioritize their best weaponry, their low AP weaponry at it. And so I think giving them the invul save is a huge priority. I always pay the extra for Storm Shields. And when I first started playing, I did not do that, and I didn't get very far with them because they would always get focused down. And once I started putting storage shields on them, I've never looked back because it just seems the best way to arm them. So storm shields, no matter what. Every time. And then that way they soak up so much more firepower that way. So storm shields, definitely. Now, with the weapon choices, however, we talked about what I would do in 7th edition. In 8th edition, I'm not so sure because they really changed up the way that Thunderwolf Cavalry works in 8th edition. And this is one of the reasons why I really feel that they've been nerfed a little bit, and I'm not super thrilled, but I understand that it's just that I'm gonna have to learn how to play them slightly differently. Okay, so what it is that you're only getting 2 swings with whatever weapons you pick. So I'm tempted to just say maybe toss a couple chain swords on there, and maybe one, because you're getting your weapons cheaper now. You know, I think a frost or a power sword is only like 4 points now. But so I would say toss chain swords to get the extra attack on a couple of them, and maybe your pack leader with a power sword, a frost sword, just because of that AP. And honestly, I mean, that's really, really it, because you're only getting 2 swings per cavalry guy, and then the wolf does the rest. You're still getting a higher number of attacks if you include the wolf, but the wolf has got their own attack, which is going to be strength 5 and a -1 AP. Okay, but they're doing their own thing. Okay, as far as the weapons you're holding, 2 swings apiece doesn't really seem worth it to me to really spend a lot of points on a weapon you're only swinging twice around. So I wouldn't even, I mean, either chain swords or, just generic close combat weapons. You know, I would go cheap as possible on the weapons. Pack leader, okay, maybe you can, you can go a little more expensive. You know, if you really want to do some damage, with that power fist, power axe, I would say maybe stick a power fist on just the pack leader, because he's getting the extra ×2 damage, the D3 damage, or ×2 strength and D3 damage. 3 swings is definitely better than 2. It's still not great. It is no longer to the point where you can just send your cavalry into battle and expect it to just massively destroy tanks and knights and everything all in one go. That's not going to happen anymore, because the wolves are doing a lot of the attacking now. It's no longer whatever badass weapon you put in their hands. They're still going to be great at wrecking infantry, and they'll definitely be able to take some wounds off of the smaller vehicles. They're just not going to be able to do the same job that they did before. So I would still keep them. I would definitely run them on the cheaper side. Storm shields, but no special weaponry except for maybe the pack leader. That's my suggestion. Now, I haven't had a chance to play test this yet because of the 8th edition, but that's my recommendation so far, my man. Really good question, because I love my Wolf Cavalry, and I can talk about them all day. And then Nerdling, his final questions for the night. Nerdling says, how long have you been doing commissions? Nerdling, my brother, good to see you get in on the channel. How long have I been doing commissions? I started around February last year. And you'll see my first commission piece, Kachow. And it was a Tau piece, a Tau Ghost Keel. And can definitely see a huge, huge difference in the way and the level of detail that I paint to now. But yeah, it's been a little bit over a year, about a year and a half now almost. And I really enjoy doing all these commissions because I feel my skill getting better the more I paint. And so really I'm being paid to do a service for them, but really it's kind of them doing a favor for me, because I just keep getting better and better the more I do. I'm really appreciative of that. And then, is there anything that you wouldn't want to paint? So the short answer is no, because the more I paint, the better I'm going to get. Now, is there some stuff I'm going to be hesitant to paint? Absolutely. Like a lot of the same thing. I tried doing a batch of 20 to 30 tacticals on the very first commission I did after that first Ghost Keel was the Betrayal of Calth box set. and I decided I was just going to do up the Marines all in one go. And I started with a block of 20, and then a block of 10 right after that. And that was a mistake. Trying to do 20 Marines all at one time, I just felt so burnt out. Yeah, that was definitely, it took something that I really enjoyed doing and just made it feel grueling just because the sheer amount felt so intimidating. Like, oh man, whew, those bolt guns look really good. How many more I got to do? 25? Damn, I don't feel like I made a dent. If I did up 5 more, how many I still got to do? 20. Damn. You know, just it didn't feel like a lot of progress, and because the way my ADD works, if I don't feel like I'm making progress, you know, I can't see an obvious progression, then my motivation just drops super hard. And then especially if I have to do a lot of faces. Faces are my weak point, and you know what? I know a commission like that would be good for me because it'll give me way more practice and forcing me to do it more often will make me better as a painter. But man, I would definitely just not look forward to doing a ton of faces. And then lastly in this category, I would also say anything with a lot of gore. Like a lot of the new Death Guard models, the new Nurgle models, that's what I'm looking for. I've never really been one to, you know, for a lot of gore or stuff like that, and so, you know, it would not be super excite me to work on a lot of gore, but again, I know stretching past my comfort zones is really going to improve my skill set on a whole as a commission painter or a hobbyist in general. And so it's one of those things that, again, I would know would be good for me, but I would definitely not look forward to doing it. But great question, my man. And again, I really appreciate all of you for having some questions for me. And then my question of the week for you guys is, you know, I've been seeing some stuff on Pete's channel, Mini Warzone, for stuff he's doing for his D&D group. And I've chatted with Richard over at Tattoo for You a couple of times about some RPing that he's done. And then, of course, I've recently got into D&D. D&D I've just been really chuffed with lately. And because I'm having so much fun with D&D, I want to ask you guys, you know, have you guys ever been into RP, role-playing? And if so, what is the favorite character, or a couple, what are some favorite characters you've ever played, and tell me a little bit about them. If you feel like adding any extra detail, maybe give me one or two of the, you know, some really awesome memories or epic adventures that you had. You know, this one time where you managed to charm the pants off of, you know, a demon that was blocking your way. You know, maybe you thought you'd seduce her. I'll tell you a little story about mine. Is the last game I was running is Dragon Age, and I invented a wizard to kind of guide the characters on their way, and I RP'd him as an old, what was the word again? Senile wizard. And his name was Deckard, and everybody loved Deckard. And one of my favorite quotes he ever said was, the Templars, of course, Templars meet, their entire job is to suppress mages and watch for them to go evil. And if they do start to go evil, take them out, right? And so this Templar sees this mage just wandering the world, and he's not leashed by a Templar at all. And so he challenges him on this, and you know, threatens to turn him into the circle, the circle of mages, and you know, turn him into the Chantry. And when he challenges him on it, he said, "You know who I am? I'm powerful. I've forgotten more spells than you'll ever know." But everybody had a good laugh. Anyways, they later on came across a succubus demon, and so Deckard proceeds to start waggling his hips and does an old man dance, and says that the only way to handle a succubus of seduction is to seduce them. Get 'em, boys! And he starts strutting around and dancing around his old man dance. Hilarious. Everybody died laughing. I mean, you know, the players died laughing. I didn't kill off the party. But it's just one of those good memories that we talk about. You know, anytime we bring up Dragon Age now, that character, the crazy old wizard, the senile wizard always ends up being one of the topics that people bring up. So it's just good memories, and I want to know about some good memories you guys might have had in your tabletop gaming, your role-playing careers. And I'd really like to hear about them. So you could either drop them down in the comments below. I'd love a video response, or I'd love to pick it up on your Q&A. And that is everything for the week, guys. The last thing I'd like to do before I go is give a massive thank you to Kuja and Kiwi, because you guys heard I had a great start to my weekend, and then things were kind of rough, kind of in the middle there. But one thing that does bring a smile to my face is random acts of kindness. You guys saw over on probably an old Freaky Friday a couple weeks ago where Kuja and Kiwi sent down a care package, and I got to do an unboxing of my part of the care package, and let's take a look at that video. Good chat. What is up, beautiful people? It's Wolf Brother Mythos from the channel Frost and Fists, and welcome to this unboxing. And I have a Land Raider.
No, it's not.
It's not a Land Raider. So this is an exciting package all the way from the UK. And keep in mind, I live in the great state of Texas, so I am halfway across the US. So it's gone across the pond and then across a whole bunch of land. Keeping in mind that Texas by itself is bigger than most European countries put together.
Yep.
So, excited to get this package all the way from across. And let's take a look at what Kuja Hyra and Rainbow Kiwibo have sent me. I have a ton of sprues.
Actually, some of that I think is for Raz.
Okay, I was wondering.
Yeah.
I've stolen sprues from Raz. I mean, Darklight Dreamer.
Yes. Yes.
Haha. So, one of the things that Kuja and Kiwi have gotten me is, check out the logo. It's something for a Wolf Brother.
Oh wait, hold on. Looks like that.
It does.
Looks like that. Like that. And that.
Guys, they do not sell this here in the States. Okay, I have a Warhammer 40K Games Workshop Space Wolves coffee mug.
I am jelly.
They do not sell this in the States. In fact, me, Richard, and Kuja and Kiwi all were on Skype together looking through the internet, and all of the suppliers said does not ship to the US. So Kuja and Kiwi, being the awesome people that they are, went ahead and bought it for me and volunteered to ship it over. So thank you so much, guys. That's amazing.
Go ahead and open this one. This one's from Kiwi.
Special gift from Kiwi. All right.
Oh, jeez. Got the knife. Oh my God, careful.
What is this? How many layers of tape?
Easy. It's be gentle.
I'm being gentle. I'm being as gentle as a space wolf can.
Oh, you gotta, yeah, right? Now you gotta gnaw it now. You're gonna go space wolf, you gotta gnaw on it.
Some of us know how to use flatware.
Hey.
No, we don't.
See?
Yeah.
Oh.
Look at this lovely wolf here. You guys may have seen her before on a Wolf Brother Wednesday. So this is, if you've not seen before, or if you haven't seen where we've mentioned it during Wolf Brother Wednesday, Rainbow Kiwibo customizes Monster High dolls, and in this case, she's customized one to look like a wolf. So this is awesome. Thank you so much,
That is really
Kiwi.
nice.
It's going to be super cool to have. I'm definitely going to take the knife out.
Everything
of the
was
box.
done by hand, and she used all of the, what do you call it, GW.
GW paints, right?
Yep.
And in her channel right now, she's doing tutorials on how she does doll customizations. You can see where she's done some extra features, the ears, the muzzle, all with green stuff.
Yep.
Fully customized. That is really, really impressive.
Now you got something to play with. Yep, that's the brush and the stuff there.
Oh, standard brush for the doll.
Yep.
Okay. Aha.
By the way, this is considered a collector, so.
It is a one of a kind.
3 years later.
1 eternity later.
I mean, she did some really amazing work on that.
She did.
Incredible work. I know she's going to be so thrilled to know that you got it. I mean, that she put so much time and effort into that.
She did. She did.
That looks about right.
Never used one of these before.
No time like the present. I guess it was attached by the neck, huh?
That seems cool and unusual.
I think so.
Also seems like
Or maybe the waist? I don't know.
my lack of knowledge of playing with dolls.
Trust me, looking at my Nintendos was weird.
Also, though, what would it have said if I were too good at this?
Hey.
That you have 2 daughters?
Why bring logic into this eye?
Darn you!
Aha! There we go. I am not fully inept.
Very nice.
That is awesome. That is awesome. Thank you so much, Kiwi. This looks great. Fantastic.
I'll film, yep. Okay, and that's set.
Aha! I see. First of all, a Darklight Dreamer gift.
Yep, that's for Dark Light Dreamer.
And he will probably unbox this on his show. But,
Free unboxing.
yep. That is a really cool. If you guys
Oh,
don't...
look at the front. Yep, look what it says in the front.
Yep,
On
it
the
says
base,
Razzie.
Yep.
So if you guys don't know, Darklight Dreamer plays Eldar, and it's very cool that he has a custom figure of him. And oh no, I'll need to pin this.
Yep.
But oh man, that frost effect looks really good.
Yeah, I did a really good job.
So here is Mythos, and in this world I have red hair,
Yes.
like a true Fenrir noble.
Yes.
Equipped with Storm Bolter, well painted, Frost Axe, and you can see the level of detail Kuja put into this. Awesome work. And I love that it's actually got my name on it.
He actually made one for me too. I'll have to showcase it for Freaky Friday for next week. But he did a good job on that one too.
I'd like to see that.
Oh, yeah, it's really
Did
nice.
you not bring it tonight to show me?
No, I'm sorry. Sorry. Really cool.
Guys, these are really, really awesome gifts got from Kuja Hyra and Rainbow Kiwi Bow over on their channels. Really, really great friends of ours. Freak and I, along with Richard, Child, Archer, we talk to those guys like on an almost daily basis. We even talk to, also in the group is Chief Live Gaming Jake. You know, so these are some really
Sergeant.
star guys that we spend a lot of time talking to every day. And our awesome friends Kuja and Kiwi were extremely generous in sending us this gift. So, so thankful, guys. I would like to refer you over to their channel. Check out the links below. And Freak may even be doing one of those card things where their name will pop up in the corner.
Yep.
So go check out our friends, please. All right, guys. So that was super cool care package that we got from Kuja and Kiwi. I really appreciate the Wolf Lord that Kuja threw in. I really appreciate the Wolfie model or doll that Kiwi threw in, and the fact that Kuja got me that awesome Space Wolf model or Space Wolf cup that they were not selling here in the States. It literally said in big red letters on the Amazon, well, you know, does not ship to the United States, but Kuja made it a point to buy it for me and ship it over here to the States for me. Thank you so much, Kuja and Kiwi. The gifts are awesome. I did get Darklight Dreamer, his model, and he did it in an unboxing of it on his latest Q&A. Go check that out. And again, just thank you guys so much. Your random acts of kindness definitely brought a smile to my face, and I've been dealing with, of course, I had some bad news this weekend, you know, in the hobby. I've been dealing with a lot of stress at work, and the random acts of kindness is really and truly just take all the bad stuff and make them go away. You know, it just makes my day. So thank you guys so much. And thank everybody else who has been watching up to this point. You guys are real troopers for watching it the whole time, sticking along with me. If you liked today's episode, then grab up an axe and smash that like button in the name of the Emperor. And of course, if you guys are not yet subscribed to the channel, then this Wolf Brother, my man Shroud, and my main man Freak would love to have you as part of the pack here on the Frost and Fizz. Until next time, guys, stay frosty.